Here we are in front of the minced meat line. What's the concept behind this line?
The concept in this line here is that we are focusing a lot on quality. We take away the bones of the incoming meat. We do that with our trim inspection line, as it would be typical the first step when the meat come into the processing plant. The next step is that we are analyzing the fat content in the meat also, and this is a little bit unique that we can measure the fat content with the X-ray, and we can do that in a very accurate way before we start processing the meat further down the line. What we see here is on our online fat analyzer. It is using X-ray to inspect and fat quality measure the meat. This means that when we have all the meat up in the bin after the machine, then we know that we have a high quality product without bones before we ship it into our further processing. Beside that, we know exactly what the fat content is in each individual combo also. So that's a benefit, so we can actually start to program our recipes in our further processing line later on.
Let's take a look at that.
Yeah.
And here is the grinder.
Here's the grinder, yes. And this is of course the beginning of the process when we do minced meat. And when you do minced meat, it's very important that we treat the meat in a very good way, so we don't have a protein destruction. Because this is a very important point when we do minced meat, that we keep as many protein in the meat as possible. Because if we destroy the protein, then we'll get a lot of cooking lost when we cook and fry the burger or meatball afterwards.
And between the grinder and the mixer is the fat analyzer here.
Yes, we also have the opportunity to measure the fat between the grinder and the mixer. If the producer don't have the incoming meat inspection system, the trim inspection system, so then we can actually do it here in the process also, where we read the fat content.
And here you have the end products.
Yes. So after we have grinded, analyzed and mixed the meat up in our mixing grinding processing line, then we bring it over to the meat block lines, where we make this kind of meat blocks. So where we're portioning the meat blocks out in a certain weight, 500 gram blocks, for example. Then we pack them into a meat tray, and then we put a label on. This is what we're doing on this line here, and it's of course happening full automatic with a speed up to 120 packs per minute. So this is a high-speed line, and of course we can do this for both pork and beef, whatever.
For what kind of companies would this add value to?
This is a typical case-ready product, as you'll find in more or less all supermarkets all over the world. So you buy a 500 gram pack, and you know there is exactly 500 gram in it, and there will be a fixed price put on the label. So this is a typical product for the big supermarkets.